Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, we start the class with the recitation of Ummul Kitab Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد ونستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. Alright, Alhamdulillah. Okay, blessing from Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala that we are lucky, still lucky. Oh, okay. To be able to be alive. We need to continue on with our journey, because our journey is not just eating, sleeping, right? So our journey is to worship Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim wa ma khalaqtul jinna wa insa illa liya'budun. I did not create jinns and human except to worship me. Okay, Azariyat verses 56. Right now for today, okay, in your credit management subject, we'll be talking about how to manage credit. All right. Now let's assume that you'll be one of the credit officer in a bank. Okay, you'll be a credit officer in a bank, and then you have to evaluate certain qualification, okay, loans application, and also from individuals and also from businesses. So we need to actually evaluate whether their credit is actually their financial condition, financial standing is good, right? So basically in the bank, when we look at the credit application, we look at the 5 C's. Okay, remember the 5 C's? No? What are the 5 C's? Characteristic. Then you have what? Comel, cantik, kan? Cun, cute, and comel. Alright. Okay. Condition, you have characteristic, you have a condition, you have what? Yeah. Capacity, repayment capacity, you have what? Condition already mentioned, collateral, and also capital. Alright. So 5 C's. There's no more. The 5 C's. Right? When do you learn this? Banking. Your last semester subject. This semester. Oh, this should be really fresh in your what you call it, okay, but what we are going to look at here is more on the how to manage a credit, right? So I will explain for today's topic. Okay, today's topic is really interesting. Is looking at the fundamental of the Sharia financing. Okay, fundamental of the Sharia financing. I know that this is might be some what we call it basic topic for you guys because you have already gone through a lot of what we call it Sharia financing, what we call it Sharia concepts and fundamentals. But just for the sake of the credit management, so we'll be covering back on what is actually Sharia financing. All right, so okay, this is something I will discuss this afterwards. For chapter 1, Islamic financial system and principle of financing. Okay, this is the chapter 1. All right, the subtopic in this first chapter is firstly, we'll actually look at Islamic banking system, right, and its definition. So it's actually very basics. Okay, all right, and then we look at the philosophy, okay, principles and objective of Islamic banking. Okay, what are the philosophy? What are the underpinning theory behind it, right? And then look at the difference between financing and also credit concept. Okay, and then comparison of Islamic economics and also conventional system. Okay, have you covered this one last week? Yes. So you want to do it again? No? Oh, okay. All right. You can compare. Okay. Oh, the last week and also this what's happening this week, right? Okay. So these are the 4 subtopics that we are going to cover, right? Okay. Now if you look at Islamic banking system and its definition, right? So it's firstly everything start from Islam, right? So it's actually a way of life. It's a way of life. So basically, everything that you do it for Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, right? Not for your boyfriend or girlfriend or your wife or okay, your husband. So it's actually for Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So it's a complete way of life. So you need to actually try to be to follow what is actually being promulgated by Islam, right? So according to what I call it the framework being given here is actually Islam consists of your faith and belief, the Aqidah, right? And then the Sharia and also the Akhlaq, good manners, right? So Sharia is the practice, how you want to practice and perform activities. So it can be in terms of ibadat and so muamalat, okay, meant to God. Worship is ibadat, okay. Muamalat is meant to God activities, right? And then we have also under muamalat political activities, siasi, economics, okay, iktisad, social activities, ijtimai, right? And also under the economic activities we have banking and financial activities. All right, this framework might be different from my framework, from my book, all right, but this is, we are following Dr. Yazid's, I call it framework, so we just follow whatever he actually has defined, okay, on the Islamic banking system. Right, so what is Islamic banking actually? So if you look at the definitions, is a banking system that practice based on Sharia. Okay, first is based on Sharia, right? So it covers all aspects of Islamic banking and also include other banking transactions such as money order, guarantee letter, letter of credit, and also foreign exchange. So whatever products that need to be offered by the Islamic bank must adhere to the Sharia guidelines and principles. Okay, so according to Section 2 of Islamic Banking Act 1983, now this is the old act, right? This is the old act. We have a new act. Okay, it's not new, actually entirely new. It's actually, I call it an improvement what we already have. Okay, so we have the what we call it Islamic Financial Service Act. Okay, IFSA. But this one is the old one, the old name, right? The new one is IFSA, which is inclusive of takaful and also Islamic banking. Okay, last time we have separate act for both. Okay, all right. So it's actually defined, okay, defined as a company which carries on Islamic banking business and hold a valid license. So the keyword here is the license from Bank Negara, right? You cannot just open a bank, right? And also you perform Islamic banking business. So this is a simple definition from the Act. So in other words, saying that yes, you can operate an Islamic bank if you are being given the license to operate from the Central Bank of Malaysia. Okay, all right. And let's look at the philosophy. All right. Now, the philosophy of the Islamic banking, basically, before we have this Islamic banking, because the Islamic banking actually started in 1970s. Okay, it started in 1970s. Actually, it actually started far back. Okay, beyond the modern banking transaction, right? But the problem is that before we have the Islamic banking, we only have conventional banking, and that conventional banking have some problem for Muslims. Okay, because when they offer you loans, they will charge you interest. When they receive your deposit, they will pay you interest. So both sides, from the asset and also the liability side, actually involved with interest transaction. And as we know that interest is prohibited in Islam, okay, in Surah Al-Baqarah, okay, verses 275, okay, right? So basically, Allah has permitted purchase, sale and purchase, right? Trading, and also, and actually has prohibited riba. And the definition of riba is actually basically there are several definitions that when you studied in introduction to business and fiqh muamalat 1, fiqh muamalat 2, you have been covering about riba, right? So riba can be in terms of riba ad-dain or riba al-bain, right? So basically riba on debts or riba on sales, right? So basically the Islamic banking mostly is based on riba ad-dain. Okay, riba whenever you borrow money, you cannot have any surplus or any additional to the principal that you have given or put in the bank, right? So the first problem, okay, is the prohibition of riba. Okay, so Islamic banking should not involve in any transaction that involve with interest. But before that, in the 70s, okay, we have the first Bank Islam in 1983, right? So before 1983, we do not have any, I call it, bank, all right, that actually provide financial transaction, okay, according to the Islamic principle and jurisprudence. Okay, so we are involved with riba. Okay, so at that day, particular day, many of our, we call it, grandfathers and grandmothers, okay, or maybe your father and mother, do not want to involve in banking transactions. Okay, but we have this Tabung Haji before this Tabung Haji. The Tabung Haji started earlier, okay, in 1963, right? So we have that, okay, but still it's only providing deposits for you to perform, for you to save for your pilgrims, right? Okay, so we do have this problem. So in order to overcome this problem of interest, right? So we actually try to develop an Islamic bank. Okay, so that is how Islamic bank has been developed in Malaysia and has been getting a lot of support from the Central Bank of Malaysia, the government of Malaysia, and Malaysia is being set to become the world financial market or financial center for Islamic banking and finance, right? So you have to be in the market, okay? You have to be there, and then you have to have this knowledge of Islamic banking and finance, so that you will become the referral, okay, from the global, right? From the global, from the world, okay? Because we have set the standard that Malaysia will be the financial center for Islamic banking and finance. So there are a lot of opportunities that you can grab. And then number two, okay, the introduction of zakat, okay, as an instrument for the redistribution of wealth. So when we look at the philosophy of Islamic economy, okay, we do have this element of zakat, we do have the element of sadaqah, wakaf, and also hibah, okay, hadiah, and so on, right? So this element, zakat, okay, is not considered as what we call it, tax, because it is actually being imposed only to the people who have meet the criteria of meeting a certain nisab and also hawl, right? So not everyone will be imposed zakat, right? And then there are 8 categories of asnaf, okay, which are being entitled to receive the zakat money. So there is like redistribution of wealth from the have to the not have, okay, from the rich to the poor, right? So the 8 categories of asnaf, okay, that are being mentioned in the Quran are, there are fakir, miskin, amil, mu'allaf, fi sabilillah, ar-riqab, ibn sabil, and one more is people who are in debt, right? Okay, okay, what we call it, in the way of pursuing Allah ways, right? So there are 8. Okay, one question that I want to pose to you. Okay, what about orphans, anak yatim? Are they categorized as asnaf? No. Okay, they are not categorized as asnaf unless they are fakir or miskin, or maybe under fi sabilillah. Right. Okay, so that's the philosophy. Okay, one of the philosophy of the Islamic banking. And the next one is the provision of business activities that contradict the value of Islam. Okay, business activity that contradict with the value of Islam. For example, you are doing a business of selling alcohol, right? Okay, then it's actually against the value of Islam. So this is one of the things, right? And all the haram things, okay? And then also the provision of uncertainty or gharar, right? So gharar is uncertain, because in the other class you mentioned about gharar, right? And the risk management. So basically gharar can become in terms of 4 elements, right? 4 elements, because when we look at the pillars of sale and purchase, for example. So that might be elements of uncertainty if you are uncertain about the ijab and kabul, right? You are uncertain about seller and buyer. You are uncertain about the product itself, and you are uncertain about the price. So there are elements of gharar there, right? So we have to eliminate the uncertainty or gharar, right? And also the provision of economic activities that involve games of chance or maisir. This is gambling, right? Gambling. So if it's actually involved with the game of gambling, then it's actually prohibited according to the Islamic principle. And also the provision of takaful or Islamic insurance. So it's better to use the word takaful. Okay, takaful is actually it's based on ta'awun, which is the principle of helping one another. So you help one another, okay, and takaful is actually being promoted in the Islamic banking or Islamic economics. All right, now you understand, okay, these are the philosophy of Islamic banking. Okay. All right. Now let's look at the objective. Okay, the objective of Islamic banking. All right. The first objective of Islamic banking is to provide banking facilities and services in accordance with the Islamic principle. So we have the problem. We have the problem of getting banking services, but without this riba, right? Without the riba, before the Islamic banking has actually emerged in 1983, then it goes, okay, tremendously afterwards. But before that, we don't have that. So whenever we want to deposit money, then you get interest and so on. So that's the thing. So we have an alternative right now. Alternative, or because our system is actually moving parallelly, okay, in parallel with conventional and Islamic. Right, so you can actually choose Islamic or you can choose the conventional, right? And this is a part of we call it the Islamic banking. They have to perform really, really well as compared to the conventional finance, right? So you are the one who will be doing it, right? Okay, and then the objective also to prohibit any dealing transaction with interest. Okay, the riba. Okay, so no riba uh, should be in the system, right? So everything must be based on contracts, sale and purchase contract, or maybe fees, or maybe you are using ijara, okay, rental, and so on. So there must be contract which is not based on interest. If you have that, we call it loan, then there shouldn't be any single additional on top of your principal. So it should be should be using qardu hasan, okay, which is you give 100, then you receive back only 100 without any single cent on top of the principal. All right, and then to promote and foster and develop the application of Islamic principle and laws to the transaction of finance and other related business affairs. So these are the three objectives of Islamic banking. All right. Any questions? No question? Yeah. I just said yes, there are the four elements. The one that we discussed during the previous class, which is the risk management. So you have four elements, which is involving with ijab and kabul, involving with we call it the buyer and seller, you're involved with the product, okay, you are not certain about the product, okay, and you are not certain about the price. Okay, for example, maybe you remember last time I gave you an analogy, right? So you want to perform a marriage, ijab and kabul, and you just say, okay, I receive I do, right? I do accept the marriage of that girl with black, I call it jilbab. Apa yang kata yang tudung apa? Scarf. Kan? So you are not certain who is the one, okay, the girl or the mother or the grandmother, right? The grandmother started to smile, right? Okay, all right. So that is example. So you are not certain in terms of that, okay? In terms of the product, for example, in terms of the price, in terms of the seller and buyer, right? So you need to be certain that when there is no certainty, then there is an element of gharar. But you can refer to the classical hadith, okay? Hadith in the classical, we call it examples of gharar, okay? You want to buy fish in the pond, but you haven't actually catch the fish, right? You want to buy, for example, fruits on the trees, still on the trees, right? So that's an example of what I call it uncertainty. Okay, selling things which is uncertain, right? Because there is element of injustice there. Okay, element of injustice. All right. And then let's look at the principle of Islamic banking. Now, the principle of Islamic banking, all businesses are to conduct in a faithful and trustworthy manner. This is the key word here. Okay, faithful and trustworthy. Okay, all right. So it's not really easy to do because this is a big word, right? Trustworthy, it's very big. Faithful, it's very big, right? Okay, because it's inside, right? It's inside your heart, right? It's hope, okay? Hope, right? All right, so and number 2, bringing out a lasting balance between earning and spending for the betterment of the whole community. Now, you are not looking at your own profit only. Okay, you are also looking at the maslahah, the society, the benefit for the society. Right? For example, if you are looking at the rationality of zakat payment will reduce your profit, right? But that zakat payment is actually providing benefit for the 8 asnaf, right? In terms of rationality, materialistic, okay, yes, we have reduced our profit margin. But in terms of prosperity, in terms of the benefits for the ummah, we have actually contributed a lot to the ummah, right? So that's the thing, okay, when we look at the economic rationality, okay, from the conventional perspective, you say that, oh, why you need to pay zakat? Because you reduce your profit margin, right? But you have to remember that whenever you are using Islamic banking as the philosophy, right? Okay, as what is embedded in your heart, then you actually believe that whenever you give one, you will get more than what you give. Okay, this is actually mentioned in the Quran. Okay, many also in the Hadith. Okay, stating that whenever you give, okay, Allah will actually what you call it, will actually make it more triple, not triple. I can say that it can become 700%. Okay, If I'm not mistaken, if you because I'm not a Hafiz, okay, there's an ayat, okay, in the Quran stating like this, okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة سبع سنابل في سنبلة مئة حبة, right? والله يضاعف لمن يشاء والله واسع عليم, which means that if you okay, is for example for example people who actually who infaq, okay, or who take out from their wealth, okay, is actually equal to like seven, what I call it, ranting apa bahasa Inggeris, branch, not branches, okay, seven branch period that actually provide 100 seeds, right? So you have seven, the small branches, then with that 100 seeds, okay, benih, right? So it becomes 700. So one perumpamanya, okay, it's about 1 to 700. So you give, for example, today is Friday, you go to the masjid, okay, you take your 1 ringgit, right, and put in the masjid, then this is actually like, okay, you'll be receiving 700 in return of the 1 ringgit that you have in fact, right? Equivalent, okay, equivalent. So it is not going to be cash, okay? You give 1 ringgit, then automatically, okay, 700 ringgit in my bank. No, right? It's actually like an example, right? So because you believe that you'll be here and also in the hereafter, right? So you not only will be living here in the dunya, but you also be living in the hereafter. So basically, that's the thing, right? So probably you will receive that 700 maybe tomorrow, okay, or maybe 10 years ahead, or maybe cash, right? Maybe cash, right? But you need to believe. Right? As I mentioned before, okay, last week, because I did not be able to attend, okay, to the lecture because I was called for a live recording show at Biz Malaysia, right? At M1. So I was being, I call it, interviewed about what is asset and what is liability. Okay, what is asset and what is liability. Now, basically, assets, okay, is simple, all right. Is anything, call it anything, okay, that can bring or put money in your pocket, right? That is conventional, a layman term definition. Anything that can put money in your pocket. So if you buy that thing, that can give you money every month, right? That is considered as asset. But if you buy that thing that it take money from you every month or every day, that is considered as liability, right? Okay. But according to the what we call it from the Islamic perspective, so basically, asset is anything that provide you money, and also anything that provide you with pahala and rewards. That is asset. So the definition is a bit wide, it's a bit more comprehensive. So even though you are providing sadaqah, that is actually your assets. Understand? Not compared to the conventional, okay, it's only anything that only give you pocket your money, okay, in your pocket, right? Put money in your pocket, but also anything that provide you with rewards is actually considered as asset. right? So if you do sadaqah, you do wakaf, you give what I call it, hadiah, okay, as long as it is complying with the Sharia, then you will receive the pahala rewards, and that is considered also as assets. As compared to liabilities, okay, okay, anything that actually take up money from you, right? Take up money from you, from your pocket, and also anything that will make or give you sins or punishment, okay, dosa, right? Right. So basically, that is also considered as liability. Okay, so that's the difference. So basically, we talk about it, okay, spending for the betterment of the whole community. Okay, so we are not supposed to be a 100% capitalist banking system, okay, which is only looking at the profit maximization. Okay, so because the conventional economy, okay, the objective is profit maximization. You want to increase your revenue and you want to reduce your costs as much as possible. But we are not profit maximization, but we are falah maximization. Okay, falah maximization, right? F A L A H. Falah. You hear the word falah almost 5 times a day, right? All right, and that if you listen to the azan, but if you listen also to the iqamah, then you listen more about falah. Okay, why is it hayal al falah? Let's what we call it gain falah, the success, right? Right, so that's the thing. So the success, falah, is actually not success in the world only, but also the success in the hereafter. Right? Okay. So to conduct transaction for the benefit of both, so basically we want to have for ourselves, for the company, and also for the society. Okay, for both. All right, any questions? Okay, if there is no question, we'll continue on. Now let's look at the difference between financing, okay, and credit concept. Okay, let's look at financing. Is a term used in Islamic banking, which is a relationship between the bank and its customer based on the contract used in the respective banking transaction. For example, okay, if we look at the sources of funds, okay, fund deposited by the customer under wadiyah contract, okay, wadiyah, safekeeping. All right, so the bank is the custodian of the fund. Custodian is the people who actually look after the fund, and then the customer is the owner of the fund. Okay, so this is financing. Okay, this is the term, for example, the source of fund, and the application of fund Okay, the application of funds is financing granted to customers under buy with time ajil contract. Okay, deferred installment payment. This is example of financing. Okay, how you use the sources of fund, how you get the fund, and then how you apply, use the fund. Okay, because in the banking system, it's either, or in any company, you will receive sources and then uses. What you do with the money. Sources is where you get the money, right? Okay, there are two. Okay, sources and uses. All right. In terms of credit, okay, a term used in conventional banking, which is the same with Islamic banking. So it is actually a contractual relationship between the debtor and creditor. Okay. Example, deposit. Okay, look at deposit first. Okay, the bank becomes debtor. Okay, the customer become the creditor. Okay, and in term of loan, the bank become creditor and the customer become debtor. Right? However, sometimes we can actually not use the term debtor and creditor in the Islamic banking, but we understand that, okay, the liabilities, okay, the liabilities is actually the same as debtor and creditor. All right. Now let's look at the comparison with of Islamic economics and conventional system. Okay, conventional economic is utility maximization, profit maximization, and reward maximization become the main focus of study in conventional economic and disregard the influence of religion, okay, on economic activities and decisions. Right, so this is missing. Okay, this is missing in the conventional system. Right, so it's either utility maximization, this one, or profit or rewards. Now if you look at, for example, capitalism, it is all about profit maximization. If you look at socialism, it's all about labor maximization. Okay, right? All right. Now let's look at Islamic economic. Okay, Amir Muhammad Al Faisal Saud defined Islamic economic as a study used by man to fulfill his as well as society's wants according to Shariah principles. Okay, the ultimate objective of all economic activities and decision is the achievement of al-falah. Oh, okay, there is al-falah here. Okay, or the blessing of Allah, okay, in the world and hereafter. Okay, hence every decisions and activities related to economy based on, okay, the philosophic foundation of the Islamic economic system. So I've mentioned before, okay, the main difference is falah, the inclusive of the two time horizon. For the conventional, we only look at one time horizon, which is the world. Calculation of profit, calculation of everything is only world. Whereas for the Islamic economic, we calculate, okay, we do the calculation, alright, for two time horizons, world and hereafter. Dunya wal akhirah. So two time horizon. Conventional only one, dunya. Okay, that's why they excluded the religion. Okay, that's why religion, okay, is excluded. Right? So that's the thing. Okay. And we all have wants. Okay? Okay, if we don't have wants, really, you all have nafsu. Right? All have nafsu, right? If you don't have wants, okay, we can define one as a need, okay, need, wants, right? As nafs, okay. You all have that, okay. Unless you are an angel. If you are an angel, okay, then you will not have the wants, right? You don't have, okay. So you will only do whatever Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has command. For example, if you are being commanded to do zikir, then as an angel you only zikir. But as human, right, you have that needs. Okay, needs. Right? You have that need to eat, sleep, okay, to play games. Right? Even it's actually been mentioned in the Quran. Right? Been mentioned in the Quran. I'm not really sure which surah and verses, but it sounds like this, okay? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم زين للناس حب الشهوات من النساء والبنين والقناطر المقنطرة من الذهب والفضة. Right? من الذهب والفضة والخيل المسومة والحرث والأنعام والحرث ذلك المتاع الحياة الدنيا. Right? والله عند حسن right. So what does that verses mean? زين للناس حب الشهوات من النساء. Right. What does that mean? زين للناس حب الشهوات. حب, you know, right? Right. Right. So زين للناس, okay, حب الشهوات, right? Minan nisa. Why not minan? Rijal. Why only nisa? Okay. So basically, we love. Okay, we need. Our shahawat is actually, okay, from woman nisa, and also we love banin. Banin is, we like to have, we call it children, right? We are so, we call it proud when we have children. The more children you have, the more proud, right? Right, for example, right? And also, afterwards is actually qanatir muqantarati. What's that? Min al-zahab wal-fidda, which is you have a lot of money which is from gold and silver. That's funny. That's why banking system is there, because to fulfill your needs, your need for the love of gold and silver, for the love of money, right? Who doesn't love, doesn't like money? Anyone here? If Right. Okay. Gold and silver, and then afterward is وخيل المستومة, right? Which is horses with, I call it signs, right? Horses. Anyone have horses now? No. Right. It's actually what? Vehicle. With brands. Nowadays we have vehicle, we have cars with brands. Okay. You have brands in front of the car. You have brands also on your motorcycle, right? So that's your love, right? You have bigger cars and more expensive, and then also, wal al-am, right? Wal has. Al-am is actually what? Ternak-ternakan kan? Your notepads, your cows, buffaloes, your goats, and so on. Chicken, right? And walhars, which is your plants. Okay, you can see plants like cucuk tanah taman, right? And that is zalikal mata'ul hayatid dunya. All of that are mata. Mata is what? What? That's actually biasan. When in what you call it, mata ul hayat. Okay, so basically it's actually what? What is actually something that we can? Huh? That is something that exactly mata. Mata is actually something that is beautiful. Okay, which is yeah, right. So that is mata ul hayat di dunia lah, right? Okay, so which is actually you can actually have all the needs, fulfill the needs, you can achieve the needs, you can, because that is all your needs. You are not malaikat, you are not the angel. But however, the next verse is actually called Unabbiukum bi khairin zalikum, right? Do you want me to tell you what is actually better than all of that? Okay, then what is it? What would be better than all of the woman and the money and so what would be better than that? What would be better than? You just imagine, okay, for example, the band. You have few gorgeous women beside you, right? What would be better than that? And you have, like, for example, abundance of gold and silver, so many, right? A lot of cars, for example, you have Ferrari, you have your Lambo, you have your Porsche, right? But what would be better than all of that? Paradise? Okay, can you just tell me what is the ayat? Continue. What will be the ayat? Qul a'unabbiukum bi khairin zalikum. The verses after the continuation of that verse. Qul a'unabbiukum bi khairin zalikum. So Come on. You can you remember? Because I'm already old, so it's quite difficult for me to remember. But قل أنبئكم بخير ذلكم. Come on. Something to do with your your taqwa. Something to do with the Jannah. Okay. Come on. قل أنبئكم بخير ذلكم. And also okay. So للذين تقوا, something to do with taqwa. للذي, the people who are with taqwa. للذين تقوا عند ربهم, right? And then you continue on. جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار, which means you can imagine, but there is like few, what call it, you have Jannah and also the river, right? Okay, in Jannah, right? And خالدين فيها أزواج مطهرة. Oh, sorry. Okay, خالدين فيها is the thing. Okay, we have the dunya and akhirat. خالدين فيها, in the Jannah, right? With who? With azwajun, which is more than one. It's three. At that time, you are not jealous anymore, right? You are not jealous. You're not going to be jealous, right? You are not going to be jealous, okay? But azwajun mutahhara, okay? And then waridwanu min Allah, and you have blessing, you have the from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Okay, so when you listen to this, then you know, right? Okay, we have the needs, right? We have the need, we want to be rich, we want to be everything, right? But there are something which is more than all that. Okay, so that is taqwa, and to get blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to be in the Jannah. Everybody wants to go to Jannah. If you ask people, do you want to go to Jannah? They will definitely answer yes. Or you ask people, do you want to go to the hell? Right, so no one wants to go to the hell. Right. Okay, but our actions sometimes contradict to what we want. Okay? But the ayat after that states also how to get the taqwa. Okay, the verses after that verse. Okay, the characteristic of to be a taqwa. And that verse, what are the characteristic of a taqwa people? Okay, that is qanatin. That is qanatin, which means the people who obey. Right. You can read the verse after that verse. The verse after Ridwanu minallah. There will be characteristic of the people who have that come on. الذين يقولون ربنا إننا آمنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا ذنوبنا وقنا عذاب النار. Right. Okay, the people who actually says يقولوا ربنا إننا آمنا. Okay, I am actually with the faith of the iman, right? And forgive me, فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا. Right, because we all have those, we have all have sin, right? Okay, and waqina azabana, because we don't want to be in the hell, because we want to be in the heaven. So there is no way you will be in the middle. Okay, not in the heaven, not in the hell, right? So it's either you are in the hell or you are in the heaven. And the characteristic, that the first characteristic, you have to be faithful. You have to have iman, right? And then you have to say that, okay, Allahumma rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar, kan? Okay, faghfir lana dhunubana, kan? And then also you also have to be the characteristic afterward. The verse is actually as-sadiqin, was-sabirin. Okay, can you just read? As-sabirin, the first one must be the people who have passions, right? The second one will be to speak the truth. Okay, as-sabirin was-sadiqin wal-qanitin wal-munfiqin wal-mustaghfirin bil ashar, right? So which means that people who are patient, people who are speaking the truth, okay, siddiq, right? People who are obeying with the Shariah, right? And people who are actually infaq, okay, and also the people who actually says astaghfirullah in the morning during the sahur. It's quite difficult to do that, right? It's very difficult because we are not awake. Right? Basically very simple. If you are awake before your, let's say during Ramadan, okay, you are awake before sahur, you just say astaghfirullah, okay, astaghfirullah al-azim. Okay, that is the characteristic of the people who get blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alright, so this is a bit different as compared to the conventional, okay, because it goes back to the Quran and Hadith and so on. Okay, and it goes back to our needs. Even though we have needs, and actually we can achieve our needs. Okay, we do have needs. If we don't have needs, then we are going to be like an angel. So you will not see any buildings. You will not see people trying to use car and so on, right? Okay, because with that needs, with that nafs, then you only can progress. Okay, the human can progress. Without that, it's not. But progressing, you must align yourself with the Sharia. Okay, all right. So now let's look at the conception of financing needs. Now we have needs, right? So we look at how we want to finance. Okay, because you have needs. For example, when you graduated, for example, you want to get married. That's your need. And sometimes you don't have money, then you start to use marriage loan. Right. Or maybe after you graduated, you need to have a car. Then you have to have vehicle auto financing. You need to buy a house. And that is also, you come up with home financing. Or you need to set up a business financing. Or you need to anything, right? It's all mentioned in the Quran, right? Because you have the cars, home, okay. For example, also children. Okay, nowadays children want to go to further education. You need to have PTPTN. You need to have SSPN and so on. just to fulfill the needs, right? So we have external financing, and also this can be divided to equity and debt. Okay, equity and debt. So from equity financing, look at their profit sharing contract, or profit sharing, or profit and loss. Okay, right? So basically mudharabah, musyarakah, and so on, right? And then you can go to the stock market. And then for the debt financing, you can look at the deferred installment payment, okay, deferred lump sum sale, leasing, salam, istisna. Okay, this is considered as the debt market. Okay, if you are using conventional, then mostly it's based on interest. For Islamic, then we'll be using sale and purchase, rental, fees, and also salam, and also istisna. Okay, so you can see that there is how you want to finance your need just now. You have needs. You want to get married. You want to get a job. You want to get a car. You want to get a house. You want to get a whatever, right? So that all need to be fulfilled, right? Need to be fulfilled, but how you fulfill it must also meet the criteria. As you mentioned before just now, right? You can progress, but must be aligned to the Shariah principle. So this one cannot. Right? Okay. You can get married. You can get what we call it Islamic loan, but you cannot use the conventional loan. If you want to get, right, to use that, because I know right now the cost of getting married is quite high. Okay, it can cost you for 10,000 and above. Can we get 5,000 nowadays? 5,000? Discounted factor. All right. Okay. Now let's continue. Islamic versus conventional. Okay, now let's compare between Islamic banks here and the conventional bank in terms of its sources of fund and the uses of fund. Okay, for Islamic banks, the sources of funds are from profit sharing investment account. Okay, investors holders share the risk and return with Islamic banks. The return of the investment is not guaranteed and depends on the bank's performance. Now this is if using GIA, okay, General Investment Account, right? The users of fund, banks share the risk in PLS contracts, okay? Share the risk in PLS contract. Now this is in terms of theory, right? In terms of the theory. But in reality, yesterday, I think yesterday, is it yesterday or what? Yesterday, kan? I've asked compare about the reality, right? About Islamic banks and also the conventional. The Islamic banks still have to use the debt, more on the debt as compared to the profit and loss sharing contracts. Okay, if you look at the conventional, the sources of fund, depositors transfer the risk to the bank with guarantees as pre-specified return. Okay, so it's actually predetermined. You put your deposit, the bank will pay 2%. Okay, interest. Deposit, you get 2%. Right? But for the Islamic bank, also they also use that, but they do not guarantee. So for example, al-wadiyah, they will give hibah, hadiah, hibah, but they will not promise you what percentage they will give you, right? They will not promise. Okay, they will give hibah. Okay, not hibah. Hibah is sell. Hibah is give, right? And then let's look at the conventional banks. The users of funds, borrowers are required to pay interest. Okay, independent of their return on their project. So if they are not making, for example, their business are making losses, they still have to pay interest, right? Bank transfer the risk through securitization of credit default swap. Financing is debt based. But normally, the Islamic banks and the conventional banks, they are using the same, we'll call it structure, okay, between the equity and also the debt. Structure is almost the same because they are also governed by Basel II and Basel III, right? If they use this, for example, the profit and loss sharing contract here and here, then they will not actually be considered as, they will be risky banks. Okay, Islamic bank will be too risky. Okay, because this is risk. Okay, right? You depends on the genuinity, the integrity of your customers to report to you that they are making profit and they will share the profit, right? So that's why they try to, they're still using the debt-based contract for the users of fund. All right. Is it Azan? Okay. So since it's Azan, then we'll actually stop for prayer, and then we'll start back at 5 o'clock. Can we do that? Or you want to? All right. Whoa, we have 61 slides. Okay. Have you finished everything during Dr. Yazis? Yes. Until 61 slides. All right. Huh? Huh? 4 modules. Okay, I don't understand. What do you mean by 4 modules? Oh, for the first lecture, he finished all 4. Wow. All right. So you already know about this. Okay, like this. If you think that you have actually covered, then I just can actually share this slide to you, right? So that you can read yourself. Then we can just end the session right now, right? Right. And then you can learn by yourself. So we just end the session now, right? So we'll continue on the next week. Okay, yeah, okay, but just to